Good morning, guys. Today I'm going to talk about some of the Loco projects I've been working on. Morning everyone, welcome back to another Emperor's Path vlog. Today I'm going to be talking about some of the projects I've been working on Loco wise, some of the new locos that have been added to the layout, and just some of the stuff I've been doing that has put me out of my comfort zone, but I'm really happy with it. First of all, I'm going to start at the front and work my way back. So recently we went up to Leeds to go see my niece, nephew and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, and my brother-in-law also collects trains. And he, in his youth, he tried to weather the two locos at the front there, so the Lima Class 37 and the it was originally a Swallow HST 125, and yeah, his method of weathering them was with sandpaper. So I'll see if I can show you. Hopefully I've done a good enough job that I can't show you, but apologies, I'm really warm this morning. It's not that side. On this side, I don't know if you can see it, but around like here and here, that was basically yellow. And what happened is with the sandpaper, he'd just absolutely taken quite a lot of it back to bare plastic. They've been like it for a few years, and then he knows I do weathering, and he asked if I could have a look at fixing it. He also did it with this little HST Swallow livery one back there, but I'll come on to that in a second. So yeah, I mean, from where I'm sitting I can't see it, but hopefully you can't see it in the video either. There's no yellow showing for anymore. So what I did was I used the same weathering technique that I used in my commission video, but I went a lot heavier on the areas that were affected by the sandpaper. So like there's a lot of very black and brown bits on this side. I mean, I went quite heavy anyway, but because you know me, I like a dirty diesel. But yeah, like this side's nowhere near as dirty because you can see the logo, and I mean, yeah, it was quite bad. But yeah, I've weathered it. I fixed it for him. I didn't want to start applying stuff to try and get rid of the actual sandpaper marks. So I didn't want to damage the rest of the livery. He still wanted that to be done. If it was a complete repaint, I might have tried using some filler or like a very fine sandpaper to get rid of it, and that way I wouldn't affect the rest of the shell. But yeah, no, I think it's come out all right. This is the second Class 37 that I've worked on, and it makes me really want one of my own. Whether I'm going to paint it in a different colour or whatever, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I really want one. I quite like them. They're not something that's ever been on my radar as a trainer light, but both of them that I've had have run beautifully, and they go quite slow for such old locos. That's an old Lima one, and yeah, it performs exceedingly well. Now moving on to the HST down here. So this one was in a much worse condition than the other one. Sorry, you can see where my hot hands are just putting moisture on everything. So yeah, so this one was in a much worse state. He'd sort of partially done this side with the sandpaper, but on this side he'd basically taken the whole thing off and then tried to fix it by using a red spray paint to try and hide the mistake, and that didn't work either. So I said to him, I said, look, I'm not going to be able to get the intercity stuff on there, it's too knackered. I said, but if you want, I can make it look like scrap. I can make it look really weathered for you, and you can use it as a scrap vehicle and buy a spare, or you can just have one that's painted and looks like scrap, but you can still run it on your train. He said, oh yeah, go for it, I trust you. So first of all, I took all of the windows and stuff out, and I attacked this particular window with so much isopropyl alcohol, and it has not shifted that red paint that he used on there. So whatever he used did a fantastic job to sort of prime everything. So on this side it was none of the livery was visible whatsoever. Whereas on this side, you can still sort of see it, but what I've done is I have gone very heavy on the weathering on this one. This is probably more than I've done on any weathering of a Loco yet. Come on, focus. There we go, that's better. You can't, so you can sort of see the top of the writing here. If you really look closely at it, you can sort of see some of the livery showing through. So yeah, so he gave me free rein on this one, and I said, cool, I'm going to make it look like scrap, but it's still going to be usable. He was like, okay, brilliant. So what I did was, this entire side was sprayed black because the paint was so horrific on it. So this entire side was sprayed black, and this side was sort of sporadically sprayed black, so you could still see some of the livery come through. And then I went over it with burnt umber in quite a lot of it. As I say, this is a lot more than I've done on any previous one. What I do really like, especially at the front and on this front side, is in real life, the camera's not really picking it up, but in real life you can see the livery sort of showing through, but you can see that the rust and the decay on this has sort of come through to the point where it's like, oh no, it's all sort of hiding away. I quite like it, and I sent him pictures and he really likes it. So after I put the burnt umber on, what I did was I attacked it differently to how I usually would, in the sense that I started spraying like sort of oranges in various colours just randomly and sporadically around the vehicle. And that made it sort of pop a little bit nicely. And then I did my usual weathering, which is sort of like the middle stone and the sand colours along the bottom of it. And then I sprayed a little bit sporadically across the top of it as well. Then I gloss varnished the shell, put oil paints on it, and just basically left it for ages. I usually leave it for no more than 24 hours, and I think this was just over 24, and it was so difficult to remove it, so I'm glad I did it on this particular one because it helped with the look in the end. So I just, yeah, used the oil paints and then sort of worked away at it with the white spirit, and then give it a quick dry brush of a metallic colour over the top just to help it pop a little bit more. And then, yeah, I just assembled it all. Yeah, I really like it. I think it looks really cool. I'm glad that he can still use it on the layout if he wants to back at home, but it hides all those imperfections from previously. So whilst we were up there, I went to a model shop with my brother-in-law, and they had a really nice selection. What I'll do is I will put a link to their website and where they're located, because I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head now, in the description below. But they had a non-runner section. It was £25 for a selection of Locos. There were some fantastic looking ones in there, but the guy said basically they don't have the time to try and repair them. They've got so much backlog in terms of the Locos that they have. So I looked at them, I thought they were really good quality Locos by the looks of them, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to take the punt. They're £25 each, because I was buying two. I said, look, would you drop the price because I'm buying two? And they said, yeah, we'll drop it. So I paid £40 for the bubble car that you see at the front and the Class 50. So we took that one home, and when we put it on my brother-in-law's layout, it lit up. There were lights, you know, which there were interior lights and lights on the on both ends, directional lighting, and they both changed when you did it. And I was like, oh wow, okay. So they've really gone to town on this one. So we knew that the pickups were picking up everything, because otherwise the lights wouldn't come on. So we were like, okay, so it's not a pickup problem. And then tried running it, no sound whatsoever, like not even the sound of the motor trying to run or anything along those lines. So it's like, okay, right, so I'm going to have to take this apart and work on it. And we tried taking it apart in between sort of family time, and we couldn't get it working. So I was like, right, okay, I'm going to have to look for a new motor by the looks of it. So I kept the motor out, but put everything else back together, and brought it home. And when I got it home, I was like, right, I want to have a double check of this motor before I go out and buy a new one. So I got a 9-volt battery and just put it up to the two connectors on the motor. And I heard a whir, and I was, oh. So I was like, right, okay, it's not got anything sort of holding against it. It's not got to try and push against the cogs and the gears of the wheel set or anything like that. Okay, let's have a look at this. So I grabbed the motor with the battery attached to it, and I just slowly started spinning the drive wheels, because it's a Hornby bubble car, and it's basically got a really tiny motor. It's not a ring filled motor like I thought it would be, and then it's got 2 drive worms, the coily bits that go around like that. It's got 2 on either side. So held the battery on and just sort of slowly turned it, and then eventually it started running. I was like, oh brilliant, okay. So what I did was I put a little bit of oil on the shaft that goes between the 2, and just let it run for a little bit with the battery attached to it. I was like, perfect, okay, this is good news, this is good. And then did it the other way, turn the battery around and let it run in again. Right, okay, so I know that this works. I then tried putting the motor back in, wouldn't work again. And basically after a sort of a couple of nights of fiddling about with it in my spare time, it turns out that the previous owner had wired something wrong between, basically I think the motor was short-circuiting, and eventually after trying to rewire it, I had to disconnect the lights temporarily to try and get it to work, because the lights cables were just making it very difficult to do. So I disconnected them, and I think there was a soldering problem or just a wire in the wrong place and it just wasn't working. But yeah, eventually I got it working. Didn't have the body shell or anything on top of it. I just had the chassis and the bogies on it, and I let it run around the layout an hour each way, and it worked beautifully. So I was like, perfect, this is a great find. It took a little bit of time, but it works, and I'm really happy. And that is probably going to be the Loco that runs on the South Sea East branch line shuttle that's going to be on the layout, so I really like that. What I'll do is I'll also, hopefully during this video you'll have seen some close-ups of these, because I'm really pleased with this purchase. So moving on to the Class 50 with the large logo BR Blue. So this one, it had the same sort of thing, same previous owner. They had little plates in them that had the name of the previous owner, the Loco number, and the class and stuff like that, which I thought was cool. I've not seen that before in any second hands that I've bought. So this one was, once again, loads of brass, etched brass and stuff like that on there. No lighting. However, the Loco itself, the body shell, looked as if it had been over glossed, because it was just so, you could see how thick the varnish was on it, and it was just a shame because it was quite nicely painted, like, because once I stripped it down, it turned out that they'd repainted it themselves anyway. Yeah, and the varnish was just so thick on there that it ruined it. So I tried getting rid of the varnish and it wasn't budging. So in the end, what I did was I took the body shell off and basically left it in isopropyl alcohol for a couple of days, and just slowly whittled it down to just the body shell. And yeah, as I say, you could see that the previous owner had done some repaints on it, and they'd done a good job. It was just a shame that the varnish on top was so thick, and it was gloss, not matte, that it sort of ruined it a little bit. But that's where we were. But with this one, as a non-runner, so we got back to my brother-in-law's, put it on his layout, and it ran straight away. Nothing wrong with it. Didn't have to work on it or sort of try and drag it with another train to try and get the wheels turning and stuff like that. It just ran straight away, no problems. And very much like my brother-in-law's Lima, it's another Lima, and nice slow mover, can haul quite a lot. I'm really pleased with it. So what I did with this one was I stripped it all down and I basically repainted it myself. Yeah, it was a long process. So yes, so I bought them as non-runners, and I had to sort of expect that maybe they will never run and they'll just have to sit somewhere, or I'd have to completely rebuy certain parts of it. However, one ran straight on the track, one looked beautiful, and I didn't have to do anything with it. So I had to repaint the Class 50, and I had to spend a long time trying to get the actual motor running in the bubble car. So was it worth £20 each? Absolutely. Like, they were such bargains, and I'm really happy with them. So moving on to finally the back of the board. One thing that I've realised as I've been moving on with this train journey is that I really love the Network Southeast livery. It's the livery that was running in Portsmouth when I was younger that eventually slowly transitioned into the Stagecoach, or the Southwest Trains livery. I think originally they basically just put an extra orange stripe on the white bit, but yeah, it was the livery from my childhood. So yeah, I've got a real fondness for it, and I didn't realise how much I liked it until I was watching Everard Junction's videos and saw how much of it he was running. And what was nice is that I also spent a lot of my childhood in Wiltshire, in Pewsey, and we used to go for walks along the canal when we were younger, and the main line used to run really, really close to it, and you used to see so many intercities running as well, which was beautiful to see. And watching Everard Junction's videos and the intercities in the Network South East are on there just was lovely to see, and it's made me want to get those sort of locos on my layout. So one thing I found is, if you watched my first video about starting this layout, is that I wanted to sort of try and keep things relatively cheap and not expensive. And one thing I do know is that the model shops all around me have a lot of BR blue coaches between £5 and £15, which now, over the course of the last few months, I've whittled down so that there's a lot of just guards vans, or guards coaches, or brake coaches, whatever you want to call them, sat in my model shops, which is a shame, because you can always use more coaches. But what I decided to do a few months ago was I stripped down a BR Blue brake coach Mark II, and it's been sat primed for ages on my work desk, and then I've finally grabbed up the courage to try and paint it in the Network South East colours. It was alright. Like, I'm gonna say it's not my best work, however it gave me the confidence to do it. I don't think the colours are necessarily as good a choice as what I'm about to go through, but I mean, for my first one, it's alright. I mean, for me, the red on the line is too garish, and like the blue is alright. I think after weathering, this will probably look really good. And to be honest, sitting next to my other Network South East coaches that are factory painted that way, I think it looks very similar. As it's running around the layout, you probably wouldn't be able to notice. What I'm going to do is probably try and match the blue on all of them, because I prefer my blue to their blue, or at least I prefer it's dulled down a little bit. But yeah, so that was a little try into it. It needs some tidying up, it needs transfers, but it was a sort of, I'm not going to say spare, because no coach is spare on my layout, but it was the coach I liked the least. So I decided, right, okay, take it apart, have a look at spraying the coach myself, and then go from there. Which has led me to this little project. So very early on, I think before I'd even started filming videos, I managed to get an absolute bargain on eBay. Those of you who follow for a while know that I am a big fan of the make an offer option on eBay. And I had X amount of money, and saw this BR Blue Lima Class 117 on eBay. And I've wanted a DMU for ages. I just like the little, whether it was a 2-car or a 3-car, I've just really wanted one for a very long time. I saw it and I think it was for about 50 quid, and I thought, that is good, but that's not the amount of money that I've got. So I made an offer. The seller can decline it or accept it, and then we can go from there. That's one of the beauties of it, is if he doesn't like my offer, he can decline it, or she. And that's why I like it, and very much the same as a seller. I've had it before where people have made offers that I've not liked and I've declined them, and sometimes where I get an offer through and I go, you know what, I just want this gone, yeah, I'll accept that, and it's quite a nice thing. I'm not good at the whole bidding war on eBay, it's not my kind of thing. Very rarely will I go the whole hog in that situation. So I got it, and it was a beautifully finished Loco set. It had a really nice matte finish to it, and I was really shocked at it. And it's been a real favourite of mine to run around the layout. But the more and more I've been getting into the Network South East stuff, I was like, I do really want to repaint that, and I want to repaint it in Network South East. So I finally plucked up the courage, funnily enough, whilst I was plucking up the courage to redo the Class 50, and I put it in. I took the body shells off and I basically put it in. I didn't even isopropyl alcohol this one, actually. It was because the finish was so good on the previous one, it was just easy to airbrush straight onto, which was great for me. And yeah, over a course of 2 weeks, slowly but surely, I've been airbrushing the correct colours onto this. I started with the white. I went white all over the whole thing. And if you guys want to see a repaint video, I can definitely show you that. I know my techniques are sometimes a little bit different to some of the other repaint options out there, but I also know that the other people do exceedingly good jobs when they do a repaint. So yeah, it was stressful at times. The bleed through the masking tape was probably the most frustrating thing. The blue to the white and the red to the white was probably the ones that I think I said quite a few swear words to. However, I got it all done to the level I was happy with, and then I glossed them and oil painted them, which is something that previously I hadn't done on Locos. The HST that I'd done was actually done after this, but yeah, I did the oil paints on it and it looked really grimy, and I was like, oh, I really like the dirty look, but it's not going to look right on the layout, so I do have to strip it back, as is what you do with oil paints every time I've used them previously. And I worked away at it and got to a level I was happy. Transfers had already been added as well, and then yeah, gave it a varnish coat. The only thing I'm not happy with on it, because I don't think it's done enough, is the interior. I need to work on the seats and the passengers, but I have put passengers in there. There's quite a lot of them, and there's a driver in there as well. And what I'll do is, when I've got the time, I'm going to go back in and attack the passengers and get them painted as well. But I got base coats on them. They are some colours. They've got skin tones painted on them as well. So there's no lighting in there, so it's difficult to see it anyway. So you can definitely see the shapes in the windows. But yeah, I think this is my favourite project that I've done since starting the layout, and I really, really love it. And I know that the running numbers aren't correct. They were just the numbers that I had. And I know that it's not perfect, but I'm really happy with it, and it's definitely given me the confidence to do repainting a lot more. It's also given me that confidence that actually using oil paints on these trains is probably my way to go forward, because it does hide a lot of the imperfections, and it does give you that grimy look. And you can, obviously, if you've not used oil paints before, you can strip away at it however you want. You can start as heavy with the oil paints, and then once the white spirits evaporated, you can work away at it as little or as much as you want. And yeah, but yeah, if you want to see like a whole repaint video, then leave a comment down below and let me know, and let me know what you want to see, because I've got plenty of coaches that I need to do, and one day I'm going to sit down and take all the body shells off and work on that, but it's not something that I'm going to do straight away. But this has definitely given me the confidence. It might be one of those things that in between Christmas and New Year in downtime I can do. But yeah, my hobby time recently has been really good, in the sense of being able to sit at my painting desk as well, which gave me the time to do all this. I've not spent as much time in the loft because it's really noisy up here when I'm sort of trundling around, and it's not fair on the little one when she's trying to sleep. So I sort of grab some time when I can to come up here. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this Loco update. If there's anything in particular that you want to see running on the layout in the future, or if you want to see just a live streaming session of me running trains around, I'm happy to do that. I can set something up for that. But yeah, if there's a Loco that you want me to get on the layout, or there's a particular paint scheme you want me to have a crack at, I can do. Hell, let's go really crazy. If anybody wants me to try repainting one of their Locos, I'll give it a go. All I ask is that you send through transfers if you can, and I can't be held responsible if it doesn't look exactly perfect, but I'll certainly give it a go, and be interested to see what you can do. I did have a real interesting idea of doing coaches in the Horus Heresy Legion colours. I thought that would be hilarious, having 18 coaches, because obviously 2 legions are unknown about. Sorry, train people, if you don't know what Horus Heresy is. It's a big game that I've been playing for years, and I really, really love it. But yeah, I did have the idea of doing 18 coaches with all the different legions on, so there would be like an Alpha Legion coach, an Emperor's Children coach. I just think it would be quite funny to have run around on the layout. So yeah, let me know if there's anything you want to see me do. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching this video. If you've made it to the end, thanks. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Subscribe if you'd like to subscribe, like if you want to like, leave a comment, and tell me your thoughts. If you've done repainting before and there's bits you like and don't like, let me know, because I think we all have different likes and dislikes on it, and I'm going to say mine's masking. That's my big one at the moment. I hate masking. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks. Bye!